Hello and welcome back to Rising Angels Reborn. For what I'm assuming will be the last part. In fact, I've got a feeling this one might not be very long, but we'll see. Shut up! How can I tell my exploits is none of your business? As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, the Oneleb crystal is the only piece of a weapon that was used to destroy the Chisari. Did you really just name it the reverse of the Bellino? Ooh, that's clever. Right. The original then, as boring charlatans had named it, was Dark Crystal. Seriously, how unimaginative can you get? So the Dark Crystal is only a piece in a greater threat. Oneleb. I'd say it possesses a substantial threat by itself, but the flowery language of Armageddon and mass destruction of planets rates a pretty significant threat as well. Excuse me? It was amazingly sparse on details, but let's see. Armed with the hammer of something or other, couldn't really translate this, no infidels could stand in our path. Rightness of Fury cast this corrupt planet into the oblivion with a wrath that knows no mercy. Should the heretics rise from the ashes once more, we leave the tool of the gods scattered at the temples. Seek them out of the heart of a true believer, and the universe will be yours. The key of the universe? It wasn't the stone, it was the whole contraption. We just brought back... No. Zuri, we don't know what a threat this may pose to the universe. If anything, we should seek help from those who may know where to find the other pieces. You want to seek out a weapon to purge the heathens? Finding this sort of thing is the exact reason that Cetos exist. But who will wield it at the end of the day? Nobody, especially not the Raltons. But is our own government any more trustworthy? Salt, you remember a little operation a few years ago. There are some good people in the government. There are some real scumbags as well. Can we trust that the power of the good will be able to overcome the power of the evil? Who is righteous? Who is villainous? We can't take that risk. For the good of the nation, we can't hand over any piece of the device. We are still operating on a photo of a rock found in a jungle. I think we might need to gather more evidence before we say this is a weapon or not. Were you sleeping when we almost died? No, I didn't get an ounce of sleep the whole time. I was too busy trying to save us. Then you know how hard it was. Can we stop it a second time, a third, a fourth? We had to stop evil at its roots. Surprisingly insightful, Zuri. But this is not our place to decide. You're a security officer, not someone with the rank and responsibility to make such decisions. None of us are. Natalie is. Like she said, this is her job. While she's technically correct, and I do have the authority to make such decisions, I don't think Command assumed that I would be making such a colossal decision. None of the stories in training ever mentioned what to do after you've arrested leadership over a crystal that could potentially end planets and intergalactic travel. Maybe I slept through that lesson, but I think the correct lesson they would want me to implement was the one on the chain of command. If I return without the crystal, nobody's going to believe my story for an instant. The only evidence of anything I'll have is a bunch of shorted out Bellino crystals, the commander's report against me, and a picture of a rock. I bet the food in prison tastes the same as ship food. Oh, don't say that. It's true, Zuri. They'll see any action that isn't handing over the crystal to them as traitorous. That vaunted Ceto freedom only lasts as long as their favour with command does. You can't fight the ones with power. We can't give them more. Think of the innocent people. What if one day, the alliance between the Katojan Directorate and the Rulian Republic ends? They might use it on my home. You want to see the Emerald City, but there might not be one by the time they're done, Nat. You don't know that. You have to have faith in the directors. But even you said yourself that they are both strong and weak-willed men and women. Director Tsuku and Dochu might keep them in line now, but will that last forever? But what do you think, Natalie? Can we trust command? I need to think about this for a little bit. I'm heading to my lab. I'm coming too. Oh god, tell me this game isn't going to keep going. Christ alive. Major Pusel. You aren't evil, are you? Well, what is evil but someone disagreeing with your decision? But... Leave me alone right now. Just because you're upset doesn't mean you have to be mean to Kylie. Sorry. I'm just scared. If I turn it over, it might doom the universe, but if I don't, I'm going to jail for treason. The fates of warriors who have to decide between what's right and what is wrong. Zuri, this isn't some philosophical moment when we can reflect on what makes a warrior. Either I do my job and hand over the Dark Crystal, or I just arrested a Vice Commander and a Colonel without substantial evidence. But we know Stan is evil. By what? A bribe attempt that I have no proof of? General misconduct that nobody's admitting? My strongly rooted suspicion that he's been interfering with my operations? Plus he's just really, really shifty. Don't forget that. Don't sound so depressed. Even if nobody believes you, I'm still here. Why do you think I haven't broken down under the pressure of it all? My friends have been helping every step of the way. Oh, Lord. I should have been a better security officer. Even with Sol's help, there were too many times when your lab was unprotected. You asked Sol for help? Since I don't have any security cameras, and I was falsely charged, I had to find other ways to protect you. You were so passionate and devoted. You reminded me a lot of a Curiel, and I... Natalie, I like you a lot. Zuri. I know you're wrapped up in all the craziness, but I just wanted you to know. As touching as your little crush is, Zuri, it isn't going to last long when you both get executed for treason. What are you... Before I have a chance to react, a blasting pain erupts from the back of my head, and the world disappears. Banging. Violent banging, like a ship rattling itself apart. Is it finally happening? Did the crystal break and now my nightmare has become reality? Is this just a nightmare? I try to remember what was going on, but all I can feel is a constant throbbing in my head. Pain, agony, and suffering. I remember Zuri was telling me that she liked me. I didn't know how I felt, and I was trying to compose an answer, but then... Stan! Let us out! Let us out! Ow! Natalie, you're alright. Oh, I think I might need to see a doctor or all this. Can't imagine constant blows to the head is good for my health. I need to see a doctor before that and send him to the hospital. How dare he attack you? And it was a sneak attack, no less. He got you? The commander got me with a sedative, fighting with drugs. That's unfair and dishonourable. What happened? I couldn't really focus, but she mentioned something about stopping you from destroying the universe. She thinks I'm trying to destroy it? I overthrew her and used a potential weapon as a power source. I can see why she might think that, no matter how incorrect it may be. But how did they escape? You locked them up and I revoked their access. I don't know. They should be as trapped as we were. You two are a pair of idiots if you can't figure out how they pulled it off. Kika, what are you... Next to you. I've been trying to take a nap, but that damn banging kept me up. I glance under the bed and see a small vent linking the rooms. If the door would just open, I wouldn't have to keep trying to knock it down. Oh, idiot. You aren't going to be able to get out that way. Then how did they get out? Who in the crew thinks we did the wrong thing, is being manipulated by the pervy doctor and has computer access? Kylie. She took the initiative to do this? With some motivation, but I know she did it. Little midget tripped me up when I was trying to talk to you after you ran off. A lovely commander then decided to arrest me as well. But Kylie, she's an innocent. She wouldn't help them. Oh, you underestimate her. Kylie might be a shade dim and clumsy, but she's dangerous. Look, we need to have a group meeting to talk this out. We did what we had to do, they escalated it, now we need to de-escalate it before this ends with us in prison. Computer, unlock this door. Door is currently in maintenance mode. Please authenticate to unlock. Major Natalie Pusel, Special Investigations and Tactics. User not recognized. What? Unable to connect to external authentication database. Currently using internal authentication database. Unlock it! Lieutenant Zuri, Security Officer. User lacks privilege mode. User access limited to user level. You both think that they wouldn't have thought about that already? The only person who's privileged access you can't tamper with is Sol's because he's currently the shipmaster. Then call up Sol and get him to unlock the door. I already tried, they must have gotten to him already. He's alright, right? The thought of losing a friend to this madness hurts more than my head. I need to do something. Oh, don't worry. Ranzuno would rather bring him up on charges than hurt him. Sol has to suffer again because of me. Hey, I'm currently suffering because of you. Feel bad for me. I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, don't. You're making me feel bad now. I'm not gonna just sit here. Let me out. Stop banging your tail against the door. It's driving me crazy. She's right. Banging your tail against the door isn't going to get us through it. It might make me feel better, though. What we need is a plan, and quickly. Give me a second. I couldn't think of anything. Time to see if I can put some of those special tactics to use. Okay, let's review the situation. The door is locked and there are no other exits. But there are some ventilation grates between the rooms to help ease airflow. but they aren't nearly big enough to fit through. The computer isn't recognizing my privileges because Kylie took the external database module offline. I'd have to be able to get back into it to turn it back on. Tentacle Sol aren't going anywhere. Odds are that after they took us out, they jumped the bridge. Sol would likely do whatever it took to defend the bridge, so he's probably out of commission. I refuse to think that he may have been killed. Zuri, are there any weak points on the doors or walls? I was looking, but they all seem sturdy. It'd have to be. We don't want to shake ourselves apart during shift. The door lock. That's the only weak point in this whole situation. Zuri, can you get this panel off so I can get to the wiring? Roger. If you start tampering with the lock, you're going to trip the central computer. Do you still have Zuri's datapad? Yeah, so? The software I used to translate the photo has an authentication database. If I hardwire a bypass, I should be able to trick the door lock into thinking that it's communicating with the central server, which would give you authority to remove the door from maintenance mode. Not bad, though I see a problem with it. What's that? You'd have to leave the datapad behind. If you pulled it to try and bust me out, the computer would notice that the door wasn't secured anymore and might put out an alert. We'd have to leave you behind. As much as I'd rather be the one to be freed, you need Zuri's strength more than you need my brilliance. Here. Through one of the gaps in the ventilation slides the worn datapad and my tool to freedom. The panel's off. Good. Let me get to work on getting this set up. What are we going to do after we open the door? We need a plan. Duh. Get to the bridge and retake the ship from the mutineers. Who? Us mutineers or them mutineers? Them! I run the connector wire to the external junction board. Finally, something we practiced in CETO training has some practical use. I shouldn't have laughed at the instructors so much. Running security program and... Computer, unlock this door from maintenance mode. Please authenticate to unlock. Major Natalie Pusel, Special Investigations and Tactics. User verified. Returning door to normal operations. Kika, we're going to retake the ship. Wake me up when you do it. Stay behind me. I'll protect you. I'm in good hands. Let's go. Sorry, felt the need to stretch there. We move as fast as our stealth will take us. After someone getting the jump on us once, Zuri has shifted herself to high alert. Every creak shifts her steps. Once again, the physical side of things hinders me. I know the layout of the ship well enough to know where we're likely to get jumped, but any ambusher is going to hear my boots clanging. Stop! Zuri hisses sharply, and I immediately stop moving. We're almost to the bridge now, just outside the lounge. I glance around the corner and see a very relaxed Carly gathering up some of the remaining bottled beverages to take the bridge. She can't hold on to all of them. She's going to be there for a while. This is the only way to the bridge. We're going to have to get past her without raising an alarm. What do you want me to do? We're going to have to take her out quickly and quietly. We have to. Kylie was always really nice to me. She's so adorable. I don't want to kill her either. Maybe the way to just get her out of the way for a while. Got it. Stand back. In the blink of an eye, Zuri is blitzing towards an unsuspecting Kylie. I request that she remain silent. Seems to have gone to the wayside, and her boots might as well be ringing gongs. Gotcha! With a swift motion, Zuri grabs the frozen Hobbin by the scruff of her collar and punts her straight into the lounge. As soon as the flailing Kylie clears the doors, Zuri finishes up with a spin, smashing her tail against the door controls. I've always wanted to boot a Hobbin. What did I say about stealth? I thought being quick would be easier. Oh, let's get to the bridge before Ren sooner or the doctor comes to investigate. With the utmost delicacy, we slowly creep onto the bridge. Nobody was paying any attention to the door, except Commander Ruzana laying next to the door. A pool of blood surrounds her body, a clean bullet hole having torn through her face. My stomach feels queasy and I look away. I knew Sol wouldn't surrender, but seeing her dead? Commander... Well, she never liked me anyway. What happened? I'm not going to ask you again. Hand over command of the console. Come on, we need to get closer. Hand over the code now. Do you want to end up the same way as the commander? As shipmaster, you must understand that I am unable to surrender the ship to a mutiny. Do you want to die? Is that it? You kill me, you can't change course or regain control of the security systems. You're not stupid enough to try, mongrel. Do you know what awaits you at our destination? Give me the ship and the crystal. If you come with me, you might spend more of your life outside a jail cell. I've done nothing wrong. You're a murderer! Self-defense. Just like when I killed you. The only person who's going to die is you, should you not surrender. Then we are at an impasse. You arrogant, racist prick! I would like to totally agree with that statement. Zuri, we need to do something. You're right. As mean as he is to me, I don't want Sol to die. Besides, he's your friend. I don't want to see you cry. Thanks, Zuri. Fine. You don't want to talk? How about I give you some proper motivation? Stan pulls the gun away from Sol and levels it straight towards my hiding spot. Crap. How about I kill your little crush? Maybe you'll be more receptive then. Move! My body feels like it was hit by a train as Zuri grabs me and dives for the cover of the navigator console. I can hear the telling zing of a near miss from the shots being fired at us, followed by a cry of pain from Zuri. Hatred and anger rip through my heart with more ferocity than any bullet. I hear a meaty thud, followed by the plank of metal hitting metal. I glance out of my cover for a second and see Sol on top of Stan, fists swinging. Not knowing what sort of state Zuri is in, I know I'm going to have to leap into action. The pistol is mere feet from her, in my hands, and is in my hands a second later. Freeze! The pair of fighters stop struggling, Sol pulling away from a fearful Stan. Zuri, are you alright? Yep. You just grazed my tail. The doctor's a bad shot. Of course I am. I'm not a monster. I'm not a murderer like our executive officer. I warned her that if she attempted to take the ship by force, I would be forced to defend myself. And all we have ever tried to do, Natalie, is help protect everyone. Don't you see where this madness is taking you? A warrior of the Kataja is dead because of you. I'm the one who has Rosanna's blood on my hands. Protecting the crystal, protecting your little girlfriend. Watch out. Natalie, Kylie is still out there. Already taken care of. Cold and caring monsters. We just threw her in the lounge and broke the controls. Was it you? Was it you who broke my datapad and destroyed my research material? And all those hours I put into the Viscount tales? What's that? An awesome role-playing game. There's more than just puzzle games? You care more about your games than the people of the universe? I level the gun perfectly between his eyes. It was I. You've been working with the Raltons, haven't you? They offered me a very lucrative deal to thwart your operations. How much money is it worth to sell out your nation, you horned devil? Enough that we could live as kings or queens on our own planet. Wouldn't that be perfect? You could trade the crystal away for more money than you ever dreamed of. We are warriors. We don't compromise our honor to protect the innocent for personal gain. We are professionals. We do our duty. Something you never quite understood. Yeah. You think this'll end here? You think I've made it this far without help? If I go down, you're all going down with me. Now you're just proving how stupid you are. What do you mean? Do you think that after you tried to kill us several times, we're going to let you walk away? After you nearly killed Faye? Oh, your precious wolf isn't going to survive the month. Her internal organs are already tearing themselves apart. Oh? Yeah, she's as good as dead. You tried to kill Natalie. I can never forgive you. Ah, the useless one talks. The leech of the group. Don't listen to him, Zuri. All you can ever do is survive under protection of your betters. Why don't you take that weapon away from the Major, and I show you who the better one here is? Drop dead. All of the crimes you committed. Nobody would have been put in danger if we'd had the information from the start. If I let him go, he'd probably escape justice again. I could end his smuggling and his villainy right here, right now. I can ensure that it will never pose a threat to the directorship again. Sol? For Faye's sake, kill the bastard. Zuri? He tried to kill you. I can't forgive that, but... I... Do it. Okay, enough of this charade. Lock me back up again. What charade? Today you pay for your crimes. I'm unarmed and I've surrendered. You can't do it. Isn't it the Ceto way to try bringing suspects alive? I know more, but I'm not talking. We'll get it from Kylie. Stop this! Stop this madness! Zuri, you know this is wrong. Didn't you swear to protect the weak? How could I be weaker? Finish him, Natalie. End this. Well, I'm not gonna... Okay, don't get me wrong. I hate everybody on board this ship, but I'm not just gonna shoot him. I'm sorry, isn't it logical to, interrogate him, get some information out of him? Christ. There is only one sure way to make sure you see justice. Wait, please, I don't want to die. Neither does Captain Moonfallow. Please. That's why you're going to be held for treason in the capital. Let them send you to the hell you so rightly deserve. Natalie? I don't want this worthless man's blood on my hands. Consider yourself lucky, Colonel, that Natalie is a better person than I. Let's take him back to his room, Zuri. Okay. Sol, could you take ownership of what I was forced to do? Certainly. I'll take the body back down to the engineering bay until we can get a proper honor guard here. Sol, I wish you hadn't killed her. I wish the same, but I was not going to relinquish my duty to you so easily. When the courts judge what you've done here today, you'll wish you'd just died out in space. You would have died right alongside me. Yeah, would I? Yeah, because nobody would have been left to stop me from ending your miserable existence. Your buddies wouldn't have arrived in time to save you. I'm ready to return to my room. All secure. I'm such a failure. Some warrior I am. It's my fault. I didn't think that Kylie would rise against us. Thought she'd be upset, but remember her duties. Not that. I wasn't going to stop you. I was going to let you murder an unarmed foe who'd surrendered. We all get wrapped up in our emotions sometimes. I almost shot him myself. If I would have, I'm not sure how I would have lived with myself. He deserves justice, but that's why we have courts. That's why we have the legal system. If you don't believe that the system works, then it never will. You're a lot stronger than I. I'm such a coward. Would a coward have thrown herself in harm's way to protect me? I didn't even think. My body was moving before my brain realised what was going on. My body was frozen. If you hadn't done what you did, I would have died. But, Zuri, I owe my life to you. I owe it to you several times over. Even if you aren't the warrior you dream of being, you're still a heroic warrior to me. It wasn't because I was a hero. It was because the thought of you dying before my eyes was more than I could take. You're a hero to me. The awkwardness is so thick that I'm amazed it hasn't formed a cloud around us. I can't look her in the eyes. I feel her tail wrapped by my legs, a warm breath on the side of my cheek, a soft pressure of her lips on my face. My heart's beating harder than when I had the gun pointed at me. What is this? Why does my heart ache so? The moment seems to last forever, yet ended in a heartbeat. I'm not the warrior I want to be yet, but I know that as long as I have you to fight for, I can be there one day. And just like that, it's over. She steps back with a sheepish grin on her face. We probably should let Kika go out and check up on Faye. Yeah. Receiving tractor beam light signals from the KAS Carpenter. They want to drag us back into station. Granted. It's over. We made it. The spirits have shown us the way home from our endeavour. Like we were gonna die up there. Ha! One of us did, Kika. The commander should have just stayed safely in her room and let us fight it out with command. She brought it upon herself. Stow it, Lieutenant Starr. Prepare us for docking. How? Well, I don't know. Look productive. We made it back. Soon I'll have to re-establish contact with command and tell them what happened. I'll have to hand over the key. Zuri's fears still haunt me. This rock indirectly led to the death of Commander Razuna. How many more deaths will it lead to before everything is done? Zuri keeps glancing at me, with worried eyes. Even though she isn't saying it, I know the worries run through her mind. The warrior wants it smashed into a billion pieces. But I'm an officer with the Katojan directorship. I have to take responsibility for the mission. Nat, we need to talk. Stop trying to talk her out of it. I just don't want to risk letting those with the wrong hands take it from us. We know. You don't like this either, Sol. Why aren't you being a little more vocal about it with me? Because you're vocal enough for the two of us, Lizard Brain. Natalie knows my feelings on the matter. She doesn't need to keep hearing them. I don't know what I should do. Well, you have roughly 5 minutes before they pull us in. I don't know, the 30 for them to replace our outbound communication crystals. Nat, I just want to say one last thing. I put my faith and trust in you when everything looked dark and bleak. If you trusted me, you'd do the same. Talk about pulling out the heavy guilt hit. Those pleading eyes are looking for the reassurance of the bond between us. What did I do? What can I do? I'm going back to my room for a moment. I'll send Kika to retrieve you when we get docked up. Why me? Because I have to start getting the maintenance team working and the honor guard ready for Razuna. Not having radios is making this challenging. Oh, whatever. Nat, I love you. Please be the warrior I know you are. Zuri, I need to go. Christ, will this game never end? My feet, unguided by my lost brain, takes me to the side of my biggest folly. Just a few distant days ago, I put us a heartbeat away from death. In the corner, covered up by a clean black sheet, is the body of Vice Commander Razuna. I guess she would be the first casualty of my actions. My thoughts drift to our Ralton traitors. Razuna probably isn't the only person I've killed. Odds are we fried their crystals when we started our engine up. Their friends and family will think they'll be home one day. They have mothers just like me who are hoping they'd be home for the holidays. I killed them as well. Pulling myself into the engine, I see the small crystal that's caused so much pain. It's hard to imagine that such a small, sparkly rock could do so much damage. If Kika's translation was correct, this isn't even the worst piece of it. Out there is something that could do infinitely more damage. Zuri is right. Nobody should have that sort of power. Power corrupts, especially ill-gained power. Though I trust my leaders to make the right decisions, that body in the corner tells me. Everyone thinks they're doing the right thing. Everyone thinks that what they're doing is for the good of those they represent. Is it my place to play judge? All I am is a major in the Space Force. I'm not a director in charge of one of the 15 sectors. I'm not an admiral of the fleet. I'm just a Ceto. If I don't hand this dark crystal over, I'm no different than Stan. If I don't follow my own laws, I'm nothing more than the traitor myself. But is doing the right thing worth taking that branding? The ship jostles as we make contact with the extension arm of the station. I'm out of time. I need to resolve my indecision and make the necessary choice. Okay, so how exactly does she expect to get away with keeping the crystal? Because logically they're going to search everything. As to handing it over, well, it's probably going to get abused because, well, people at the top with all the power always end up abusing it because that's the way power works. Infinite power corrupts infinitely. Sorry, absolute power corrupts absolutely is the proper quote. So, yeah, I'm keeping it. I can't risk handing over something that could spell doom for billions. It would be irresponsible of me to trust that power to anyone. Even though my duty requires me to hand this stone over to my leadership, my duty to the people tells me that I can't. My heart tells me that I need to be spurred to action. This crystal, this weapon, that's civilization. I know so very little about any of this. I know the what, but not the who, when, where, or how. If I blindly smash this crystal, I could destroy all hopes of understanding the truth. If I hand it over, I don't know what'll happen. The only responsible thing to do as an officer of the people is to find out the truth for myself, or anyone else has to pointlessly die. I need to find out the truth. I don't have much time. If I'm going to continue pursuing the truth, I'll need to move quickly. With Razuna having already filed her report, as well as mine, they'll expect to hear from me soon, and they know I have it. There's only one thing I can do. I'll have to run. I'll have to throw away my commission, throw away the life I've known. I'll have to be a fugitive from the law I'm trying to protect. A traitor. Not something minor like accepting a bribe, but a full-fledged AWOL deserter. If I do this, any hopes of fulfilling my dreams of being an admiral are shot. With a heavy heart, I pluck the crystal from the engine. There's no need to be safe now, just expedient. I slide it into a small carrying case of iron and stuff it in my pocket. I wish I could say goodbye to Zuri, to tell her that I'm putting my faith in her. I'm putting my faith in myself to find the truth. I wish. No, this is a burden that I have to carry alone. Putting myself in the gun sights of the law is one thing. I care for my protector. I don't want her to suffer for me anymore. Goodbye, Zuri. Oh, there you are. Sorry. I just wanted to look at the crystal again. Uh-huh. Did you make up your mind? I'm going to take a moment, hit one of the burger places, and think it over some more. So you're running. That obvious? I knew you were going to flee with the crystal. You think you're brilliant, but you're incredibly easy to read. Then you know why I'm doing this. Missouri might think you do this to protect the innocent, but I know you better. This is something you can't trust to others. This is something that Natalie has to solve. Why can't it be both? I never said it wasn't. I just said which was the bigger factor. I should be going. Wait! Stop running off or interrupting me when I'm mid-speech! If you know what I'm doing, you know I don't have the time. I knew what you were doing, so I wanted to wish you luck before you left. Huh? Even though I think you'd be better off getting help from the government, I can't help but want to root for you. You remind me a lot of me. And, well, I wish I could go with you. This is something I have to do alone. You're an idiot. At what point in your career did you ever do something alone and have overwhelming success? Even I'm not stupid enough to think I could do everything by myself. What an idiot. You're making me want to come with you even more now. How can I leave such an important task in your hands? But I don't want to give up my titles. I don't want to give up my inheritance. Everything that makes Kika Star amazing. Pika, you were amazing out there without any of that stuff. To throw it all away to chase you on an adventure that could end with me in prison? I can't do it. Right, I'm overrunning my timer again, because this game just won't end. So I'm going to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next, and hopefully final part.